Welcome back. You're listening to The Velocity of Money. Here's your host, certified mortgage planning specialist, Michael J. Barnes.
Welcome back to The Velocity of Money. This is Michael J. Barnes, and you are listening to KFNX 1100, Arizona's news talk leader. Don't forget, you can still listen online at www.1100kfnx.com. That's 1100kfnx.com. As promised, just before the break, I told you to listen in. If you know anyone that has a GMAC mortgage, this is going around out there. This is one of those too good to be true things. Here's the thing. I have no issues whatsoever with GMAC. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there is a campaign of sorts going around. A client of ours received a letter. We did a second mortgage for this person a few years ago. They received a letter from GMAC. It looked like GMAC. It sounded like GMAC. And it said that we're willing to forgive your second mortgage of $200 and X thousand in lieu of a one-time payment payable within the next 30 days of, say, $20,000. The exact amount, I don't recall what it was. There's a phone number on there. It says Loss Mitigation Department. There's a phone number. There's a person assigned to this case. They called the phone number. They answered the phone as if you were calling into the Loss Mitigation Department and verified that if you just send us this amount, we'll release the lien. Well, it's completely false. It is absolutely not true. These people are not going to seek you out on their own. Now, whether it be GMAC today, we've actually seen that one. There may be other ones out there. Folks, if you're getting stuff like this, you need to verify it. And you need to verify it by sources other than the information on the letter that you get. If you get an email that says your account, business account, your bank account, whatever has been tapped into, you need to check, chances are that's some sort of a phishing scam, and this is no different. They've gone back to identity theft through the mail, and if you've been a party to this, you need to verify, you need to check into it, and you need to contact the authorities immediately. For more information, if you need help with this sort of situation, you are welcome to give us a call at 1-888-MOD-INFO. That's 888-663-4636, or you can go online to the modificationhotline.com.
Pretty amazing that kind of thing still exists, and with the announcement by Paulson today, the fact that they said that they are no longer willing to buy bad mortgages off the books of the banks, when you come across a phishing scam such as this one, there's not a bank out there, I don't care what kind of trouble they're in, that's going to take 10 cents on the dollar to forgive a loan.
Well, in a situation where you're right, when things are status quo, when things are going fine, in a situation where they're going to be, pursued by an attorney, that's completely different. They're not going to just volunteer up and give you the money.
Absolutely not.
It's not going to happen.
And that's where we get back into what a loan modification is, who it benefits, how it works, and so forth. You're starting to see these wheels in motion amongst all of these banks. One of those wheels is certainly not, we'll forgive $200,000 worth of debt if you write us a check for 20 grand.
No, and when we talk, Brett, about this, you and I have many conversations in regard to what does it take? Can a person do this on their own? We'll hit that point again a little bit later. But the answer is yes, a consumer actually can do it on their own. Up until very recently, with the new announcements made from some of these major servicers, investors, if you will, up until then, a person trying to do it on their own would take days upon days and hours and hours and hours of on the phone, not getting phone calls back, trying to find time during the day whilst working to get this done, and then in many cases they're going to get a temporary fix. The loss mitigation department for the bank that you have your mortgage with, their job is not to mitigate your loss; it's to mitigate their loss.
Absolutely.
They're out there protecting the bank. That's why we use the national network of attorneys that we do, that are professionals that do this, that have done thousands of these loan modifications, to go to bat for you. And by the way, folks, they're not going through the loss mitigation door that you would have to go through. They're going right to the legal department. They're going to threaten suit if necessary. They're going to do discovery work. They're going to find out if there's anything that was misrepresented by the bank or the broker and take that angle.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, the only analogy that I can come up with about it is I could probably figure out how to change the oil in my car.
Right.
But it's not my expertise. I'm certainly not going to take the time away from what I have expertise in order to try to figure out how to do that.
Right.
I'm going to have a professional do that. And it's the same idea when someone's considering a loan modification program. Yeah, you could probably call up that lending institution, go through the loss mitigation department versus going to the legal department and try to work through that scenario. But you don't know what you don't know. And if you take that approach and make that attempt, it could cost you money, it could cost you a higher interest rate, it could cost you something that you're not even aware of. That's where your team and the loan modification professionals in this attorney network that you exclusively work with come into play.
Again, you talk about not being able to change your own oil or not choosing to change your own oil. Of course, you could figure it out. You wouldn't operate on yourself. If you got yourself into some legal trouble and you were an attorney, you wouldn't represent yourself. It's just not something that, even though you may know what to do and how to do it, you're just not going to do it because you need an unbiased third party that's truly going to fight for your true rights.
And that has expertise in this particular area, specifically focused on working toward the mortgage owner, the consumer's best possible outcome.
Right. No, that's absolutely a good point. We have example after example of people that have tried to do the loan modification on their own, and most of the time what we see is a situation that is best for the bank. Temporary fix. Ooh, people don't need a temporary fix.
Temporary being the key word there.
Yeah.
We'll make it better for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, but we're going to tack it off. One of our strategic partners was just sharing a story at the break about someone he knows personally that did this. They took this approach, they did it themselves without the benefit of the attorney, and the end result was a temporary, short-term, better fix today, all of which interest, back costs, etc., are tacked onto the other side of this mortgage. That's not what you're after with a loan modification.
And when you think about it, really? A temporary fix? Really? I'm sorry, isn't that what put most of the people into this situation to begin with? Was a temporary fix? Remember the billboards that said if your mortgage payment's only $500 a month, you're paying too much, call now, 1% interest rate? Give me a break. Look, people fell for it. Everybody fell for it. It was a disaster. Well, that's what we're looking to go back into. You don't need a temporary fix. You need a real fix.
You need a real fix that's going to meet your need as the consumer. It's going to meet the need of your family to stay within a home. It's going to meet the need of your cash flow monthly to get a reduced payment, whatever it is for you and your family. That's the whole idea behind modifying your existing loan.
And another important point here, we hammer down on so many of these different issues. A loan modification is not for somebody that doesn't care. This is if you really care. It appears that you will be being faced with foreclosure. If you're late on your mortgage, if it's getting ready to go up, any number of genuine, true hardships, financial hardships that happen to you, your main goal has to be that you want to stay in that house. Keep your family and your pets in that house. You need to call. We're here to help. We're not salesmen. We're saviors. Look, if you decide that the modificationhotline.com isn't what you and your family need, that's okay. If you are able to find another solution, you know what, we're happy for you. The more people, in my opinion, the more affiliates of my firm that there are out there to help get us through this process, the better off we're all going to be. The sooner we get through this loan modification, get through these toxic mortgages, the sooner all things economic will recover. The housing market is the base of this economic crisis, and everybody knows that.
Without question, and a number of experts that weigh in, that have credibility, and people that I receive advice from in terms of helping my own clients, they talk about the stock market in terms of when does that improve, when do stocks get a foothold and go forward, and the economy start to rise, and the recession come to an end, and all those things. Every single one of them, without fail, go back to this housing market and this crisis. Foreclosure is an avoidable option, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take on some other job or some other source of income or whatever it is to try to maintain an existing mortgage. That's not the point. Modify an existing mortgage. That may be a much better alternative for the average person that finds themselves under this pressure.
Well, and that's one of the things, most of the people that I talk to have sought other income options because they can't do it. If you have to take a second mortgage just to make your mortgage payment, there's a problem there. Now, maybe the problem was spending habits. Maybe the problem was, who knows? But
Or it goes back to the credit market entirely. You know, you take out a loan against a credit card in order to pay a mortgage payment type of mentality.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is the danger right there. If you're finding yourself under these pressures, you've got to call 1-888-MOD-INFO to find out more about this and see if this is something that can benefit you.
that's right. You know, and we're going to be back in just a few moments. You're listening to The Velocity of Money with Michael J. Barnes and Brett Fallon, and we'll be back in just a moment.